Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new bubble tutorial, and in this particular video I'd like to walk you guys through on how to make this responsive table in bubble.io. So what do I mean by responsive is that, as you can see right here, when I were to reduce the width of this particular screen, and if I were to just adjust the size of the screen, for example, like you're able to find this particular table is still viewable and it is able to scroll to the right hand side right here. This is what I meant by responsive right here. And this particular table is actually being directly fetched from this bubble backend right here. As you can see, I'm using this learners database right here, and I'm actually fetching directly from this database right here. And of course, I'll be walking you guys through on how was I able to make this particular responsive table in bubble.io. So without further ado, let's get started.
Do you have a great idea for a startup and you're unsure on how to turn your idea into a working product? I have a great news for you. I'm offering a free one-to-one consultation to dive into your startup and discuss how you can kickstart your startup with no-code tools such as Bubble, Webflow, or even Glide. I'll also be offering development guidance for your MVP. All you have to do, drop me an email and schedule a call. More details are in the description below. So, are you ready to supercharge your startup? Like, subscribe, and most importantly, book your consultation. Now, back to the video.
All right. So as you can see right here, I happen to have a blank bubble project page. And from here, I would like to create that particular responsive table that I've just shown. Okay. So for your reference, I have attached this particular template that I would like to share with you in the description of this video so that you will be able to recreate and clone from it. And yeah, just try it by yourself. So yeah, let's get started. We should be going to this particular background right here. Click on edit properties, and there you go. You'll be able to have, you need to go to layout first, and first of all, let's change this container layout to row right here, and we should place this particular alignment to the center, so it always aligns to the center whatever content that we place. Next thing is, let's adjust this particular default builder width so that we can actually increase the width of this particular page. In this case, I have to go with 1040 around here, and that should do. And I would also like to give some gray, very light gray to the background of this particular project right here. So in this case, I have to go to this particular background color, and I'll be choosing a very light gray, and let's go with FA NFB like this. And this gives a really light gray, and that should be enough. Yeah. And the next thing is we can start by adding the table itself. So as you can see in our bubble project right here, we can directly go to this particular left-hand side right here. This particular sidebar right here. You can look for this particular table right here, which is in beta. So you can just click on it and drag it. We can just place it in the center right here. And there you go. This particular table is not how it supposed to look like right here. So what we can do here, we need to, as you can see, we need to give some container that will always be sticking to the center of this particular page. And that container can actually maintain aspect ratio for this particular page right here. So in order to do that, let's actually make this particular table to be placed in a group. For example, I'm going to say group elements, column container right here. And this group right here should be used as a container for this particular page right here. And let's have, usually containers would be having like a max width. For example, you can go to this particular max width right here, and we can add like a default max width right here. In order to give this particular max width, we'll be able to have some spaces on the side right here. As you can see, we are able to see some space on the right hand side and the left hand side here. And for this particular container as well, we can give some minimum width right here. As you can see, minimum width is just 60. So I have to give around like 850. That should be just enough. And there you go. You'll be able to have this particular container right here, container's minimum height. And there you go. The next thing is we should make another group right here. And sorry, before that, let me just rename this particular group A into, say, container. And there you go. And let's add another group that gives the background color for this particular table right here. In this case, I'd like to create another new group right here. In this case, it's going to be a column container. And there you go. And this should be the one that says group table, by the way, because this is the one that is going to be giving the background color for this particular table right here. And by selecting this group table, we need to go to this particular styling of this particular group table. We should be able to have some basic styling right here. Let's say if I were to go to background style and let's add flat color of white. And for this particular table right here, I like to give this particular roundness to be 10. And of course, some shadow. In this case, I have to add outset. And in this case, I have to say 0. It's going to be 0 as well. And blur radius is going to be around like 25. And spread radius is 0 as well. And for this particular box shadow right here, I like to give some gray color right here. As this gray should be around here. And to be specific, I like to give this particular hex color to be used as a gray color. And there you go. You're able to see some shadow that actually makes this particular table group to be floating. So in this case, just to reduce this particular opacity this into 10%, that should be just enough. And there you go. You'll be able to find some shadow has been placed right here. Now next, we can also give some, you can see maximum width for this particular group table as well. And around like 1200 should be just enough. And there you go. You'll be able to find that this particular table is actually not being placed in the center, but you'll be able to find some spaces between the container that I have just given and this particular table right here. And let's go to this particular group table right here, and let's make sure to place a line to this particular center of this particular page. And if you notice for this particular table right here, this table is actually did not span the entire space that we have provided. Since because it's actually using this particular fixed width, and we need to remove fixed width right here. And we don't need to give any minimum width as well. Just delete this. And same goes to minimum height, right? Give anything, because it will eventually will fill the entire space right here. And there you go. We're able to find this particular table is actually being placed at the most top right here. What I like to do, I like to bring this particular table to the center of this particular container as well. And let's do that by go to this particular container as well. And just need to click to this particular center right here. And there you go. Now that we have already placed this particular table right in the center, now next thing is that we can start adding the content of this table. So, we happen to have for tables, we can have the table header, and that header is the one that always stays in the top right here. And of course, we can actually add more rows, and see when I just click on this particular add more button, and this add more will just eventually add another column on your right hand side right here. And there you go. So right now with this particular table that we have, we can actually happen to have this particular table header that says 0. So we can just take this particular text right here, and we can just place it in the table header right here. So as you can see, table header has actually been placed at the most left corner at the top right here. So we can place it to the center right here. Let's make it to the center. And also we can also add some padding. Let's say if I were to add padding, for example, left side, I can add around a padding of 40, and that should have some padding right here. And also in our right hand side right here, we can put 24, and that should give some padding on your right hand side right here. And of course, let's remove this fit width to content for this particular text right here, so that it will fill up the space of this particular table cell right here. And of course, we must make sure to give this particular column right here to give some minimum width as well. So this minimum width is actually important because we need to make sure, even though when the screen size is reduced, this particular column will not shrink or enlarge even like this. And we must make sure to put fit width to content right things. And there you go. This will eventually adjust the width of this particular column according to its content that we place inside here. So the first column we can put like the user, by the way. Just put user. And we can also add another column right here. Just take this, just place it inside here on the second one. And second one, I like to say date created. It's like this. And must make sure to give some padding as well, around like 40 on the left hand side. Right hand side, let's give around like 24 again. And of course, we must make sure to give this particular fit width to content. And of course, some minimum width of, let's say, around 215. That should do, and this will eventually give some proper styling for this particular cell as well. Next thing, there's another row as well. I like to give example that we had this particular other row called status. And this status should also be having the same padding as well. And fit with the content, of course, some minimum width as well. And there you go. So we can do the same thing like here, like just by saying copy column, and we can just say paste column on right, just like this, and you'll be able to have the same exact table configuration for this particular row right here. And for the last column right here, I'd like to say edit, and this edit, like to just say, I'd like to give this particular column right here to be a bit smaller than the usual size for the width. Instead of 250, I'd like to give to be a smaller one. So 150 should be enough. And also I'd like to make this particular edit text to be aligned to the center. So as you can see, we can just put this particular fit with the content, and that should eventually, gives this particular width to be fitting its content. And next thing is, as you can see, even when you remove this particular padding right here, we don't need this padding, but you can make it to the center right here. And there you go. You can find that this particular edit is actually aligning to the most right hand side right here. Now the next thing we can add is this repeating group right here. So as you can see in our table right here, when we click on this and we happen to have row 1, which is a repeating row right here. In this case, we can choose a particular data type. So in this case, let's go with learner. So learner is something that I've already added in my database already. For example, this is my learners database. I just added it just by placing some sample data right here. So I'm just going to make use of this particular database into this particular repeating group right here. And I'm just going to look for search for learner. And this will search all the learners that you can find from the table right here. And there you go. So as you can see, when we use this particular table to display all the learners from this particular database, so we are able to preview it in this particular preview page of the bubble template right here. So as you can see, there are 3 rows right here, which indicates that this particular data is coming directly from this particular learner, where they can find 3 users at the moment right here. So we can start by actually populating the data of the learners. For example, let's say we happen to have this particular first name, last name, and there's also an image, profile image. So we can make use of that for the first column right here. So I like to go and grab this particular text element like this, and just take it and put it inside here. And we can make sure to have this particular text to give some padding. So in this case, we can also give some layout, and we can give the same padding that we have just gave like this for both of them. And we can also make sure to make this text to align to the center right here. And we can also give this particular text to become a dynamic value of the learner, where we can put current rows learners. We can start by first name like this, and let's say let's add another space, and after the space we can add current rows learners last name. And by doing this, we're able to have both their first name and the last name to be displayed in one row like this. Or in this case, let's see the preview, how does the first name and last name are being displayed right here. So as you can see, we are able to have the names actually being displayed like this. Let me just remove this. Okay, so the next thing that we would like to work on is actually we can also add the profile picture here, right beside the name. So what you can do here, let's grab image component, image displayer component. For example, this is the one right here. Take this and we can place it right here. And as you can see, this particular is using a very huge layout size. For example, the width and height is 320 pixels, which is too huge. So what we can do here instead, we can reduce the width to around 40 pixels. That would be just enough for our table. 40 pixels like this, and let's align to the center. And of course, need some spacing. In this case, we need to make sure to have apply gap between the elements. Let's put 10. And as you can see, there are some spaces between the image and the name of the user. So what we can do right now, we can actually display the image. As you can see, there's a dynamic image selection. You can click on insert dynamic data, current rows learner, and profile photo like this. And of course, let's make this particular box to have some rounded corners. So we just need to go to roundness. And here we can choose maximum value, for example, 100. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be a circle. So maximum roundness is circle. So we can have this particular able to be tested so far. For example, let's say if you want to click on this again, you'll be able to have this particular users actually being listed right here. So as you can see, we have already done the first column right here. But before that, let me just remove this particular lines that are actually vertical and horizontal right here. We don't need to have this particular vertical lines right here, but this particular horizontal line is just enough. So what you can do here, there is this configuration for that, where we don't need to put this particular vertical lines. So I just need to go to tables right here. Just go to tables, this particular table right here, and that is a selection where we don't need to put this particular separators for the vertical part. So we can remove the one that is vertical like this, and you'll be able to have them, this particular vertical lines to be removed as well. Now, next thing is I would like to add email, because we happen to have an email data. So that email data should be placed below the name. So what I like to do here is that I like to take another text. For example, just take this, and in this case, as you can see, I can't put this particular text below the name because, of course, we're using in a row. It's supposed to be in a row. So what we can do here instead, we can make this the whole entire name, first name, last name component, and this particular email text right here to be arranged in a column group. So example, we have selected both of this. For example, this is the name. This is the second text component that we have just uploaded. So we can make this into a group elements in a column container. So by having them in a column container like this, you'll be able to have them stacked on top of each other. So I like to have this particular name, edit me, to be this particular edit me, the new one that we just added, to be using email instead. So current rows learner email, and of course we must make sure there is a fixed width has been applied. If you check here, we must make sure to use fit with the content, so that we are able to have them, both of them to use a proper space. So I have to have the email to be placed in the bottom. So I have to make this last right here. And of course, as you can see, we have given minimum height. If you don't need to give any minimum height right here, because we just need to fill the actual space of the name and the height of the name and the email's name. And also let's differentiate between the top text and the bottom text right here. So because I'm just going to make sure to have the top one to have some basic styling right here. In this case, I'll have to add I'll have to increase this particular font weight to medium, and that would eventually increase the font thickness. And this one for the email, I have to decrease it lightly, for example, like this. And that should be giving some differentiation between the name and the email, just like this. So there you go. So I think we have already done with this particular column right here. Next thing I like to do is actually the date created right here. So the same thing, I'm just going to take the text component right here, just place it right here, and the same padding for left hand side and right hand side like this. And of course, need to make sure to align them to the center. And also the data should be current rows learner and date created, creation date, and there you go. And we don't need to do much for this particular date created, and this should be just enough. Next thing would be this particular status. So status is just going to be making use of there's two data that we're going to use, which is going to be active and archived. So in order to, we can actually give some styling, not just by having a plain text like this, but we can have them like to give some basic styling. For example, let's say if it is active, we can show a green background, and if it's not active, we can show a red background, and that's kind of straightforward. So what you can do here, let's give some padding. For example, same padding like we have done before, and also align to the center right here, and just like this. And next thing that we would like to do is that we need to make sure to have the status value. For example, is it either active or archived? So that's the first thing we should do. As you can see, we're able to see those particular value right here, and there you go. So what I would like to add as an extra feature here is that we can actually add like a background for this particular text right here. We can actually add this particular background color for this particular text right here. First of all, we can go to background style, and we can put flat color right here. And from here, we can add like a very light green color instead. For example, we're going to make use of this green. And yeah, doesn't matter any green, by the way, we can just use any green right here. And as you can see, this particular green, we can give some padding within this particular text itself. So we can go to padding right here. Just click on, I'm just going to give top of 5 and bottom 5. Left and right going to be 10. And also some, corner radius as well. In this case, let's go to this particular roundness. 20 should be enough. And there you go. Now we can also add some text color. For example, we can go to this font color right here. We can give some green color, but this time it has to be darker than it used to be. A bit more darker than this should be enough. And also let's give some, this particular font weight like this. And we can also increase a bit more like this. And there you go. So this is supposed to only work when it is active. So what happens when it is not active? For example, we can go to condition and we can actually click on this particular current rows learner status is archived. So, and then when it is archived, then we can give like another property right here. In this case, I'm going to make use of this particular background color first. Sorry, background color should be not light gray, but it's going to be red like this. This really light gray. And also the font color. Font color should be a dark red, right? This, just like this, go here, and this should be enough. And there you go. So let's give it a test right here. And there you go. This is just enough that how we would like to see. And the next thing, and the last one should be this particular edit, where we just need to add like a simple icon right here. For example, you can use this particular icon tool. For example, I'm actually able to use this particular icon tool right here. So, but before that, let me just reduce this width of this particular A right here. For example, I can just go to this particular text right here, and I can remove this fit with the content, because as you can see, unselect the fit with the content, I'm able to see this edit. So I think it won't affect in terms of in the development also. As you can see, there's not much of difference has happened. So with what we can do here is that we can actually add a simple icon. So I'm just going to grab this particular icon, just going to place it right here. Okay, so it's just going to look, of course, we must make sure to have the padding first. Okay, so the first time, in this case, we don't need to add any padding, because we're just going to make sure to align this particular icon to the center right here, just like this. And also we need to make sure to use a particular icon that only will be able to indicate that it is a editing tool. In this case, there is an icon that shows this particular editing, where we can just use a simple gray color as well right here, and that should do. Or we can use any pen tool, or that should be doing the same thing like this. So as you can see, we also happen to have a pen tool like this, and this pen tool should also do the same thing, because a pen should be just enough to show that it is an editing feature. And there you go, guys. So we were able to a simple table just like this, and this table would be responsive at the same time right here. So as you can see, I'm able to reduce the width of this screen, and I'm also able to scroll to my left hand side and my right hand side. So I can also give some padding on my left and on my right hand side right here. So we need to add some padding to this particular container right here. So what you can do here, we need to go to container, double click on it, and you can just give some padding of around like 25 pixels. Same goes to 25 pixels on the right hand side. And that should eventually give some padding like this. And there you go. So with this 25, we're able to have some spacing on your left hand side and your right hand side. And just like this. So as you can see, you're able to find some spacing on your right and left hand side right here. All right. So as you can see, you're able to have a simple looking responsive table, which is indeed able to adjust its width even when you are in mobile screen or even in your web screen like this. And you're able to scroll to your left hand side and your right hand side right here. And there you go, guys. Thanks for watching this particular video. Let's catch up on the next one.